Yeah, exactly. And how we're doing stuff together is all about community.
Everybody's self-driving.
Yes, the only thing that's real.
James.
Yes, sir.
James, Desert Shield, Desert Storm.
The first one, yes, sir.
So was my dad.
Oh.
If I'm not trying to make
well, I appreciate that. Yeah. All right, interview over. Let's go. It's time to go.
Yeah. No, that's really cool, man. Well, thanks for that. Yeah,
Thanks.
that was a tough one. You guys sat there for like 7-8 months waiting on something to happen.
Well, so I was in the Air Force, so we'll keep it real. The Marines and Army had it tough.
Yeah.
The Air Force did not have it so tough. So it was actually a cool time for us to be there. And the first one was very short.
Yeah.
So it was I there? Yes.
Yes.
Was it hard? No, not for us. But I've got friends and Memorial Day is coming up, and there's got to be 20 people that come up and say Happy Memorial Day, and Memorial Day isn't about the people that are still here.
Yep.
It's about the people that aren't.
Yeah.
It's not Happy Memorial Day. It's a moment of reflection for remembering those that gave everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I've lost friends in the Air Force, but I've lost a lot of friends in the Army and Marine Corps.
Yeah.
That didn't come back.
Well, I know we're about to start, but I don't know you personally, James, but now I know a lot about you based on what you've just told me.
Mm-hmm.
And not that you were in the Air Force, but just the humility that it takes to be like, hey, man, yeah, this was me, but I did this and then this. A lot of people, I think, tend to, lean on that and try to inflate things, and not, the fact that you were there is still good. Like, you still raised your right hand and you still went over there and did things.
Right. I was, but my father was a Vietnam vet. My stepfather was a Vietnam vet, and they fought.
Right.
That they were in the trenches, and they were.
Yeah, I get it.
They raised and they did a lot more than I did. So plus they had a bad welcome home. So
yeah,
it's nice that we don't have bad welcomes home anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Totally agree. Yeah.
Well, all right. I guess that's our cue.
Yeah, that's our cue. It's a great way to start chasing the ride.
Yeah. Everybody start up chasing the ride with James and Scott. We're here at Mile High Park for Harley-Davidson, and we're super excited to have you. So welcome.
Well, thank you, sir. Appreciate y'all coming in today.
Absolutely.
We just got a little bit of taste, and so when that Desert Storm and that stuff had started, I was still, I think I was 20. So you're probably about the same age as me. And so were you young in the Air Force at that point in your life?
I joined the Air Force at 18. I went to Desert Storm, and I was 21.
Yeah. So yeah, about the same age. Yeah. And what inspired you to start with the Air Force to start with?
So I was, my father was Marine Corps. My stepfather was Army.
Gotcha.
I graduated high school in Hawaii.
And where at?
I graduated from Milani.
Okay. So I graduated from Leilehua.
Well, I was supposed to go to Leilehua.
Look at this.
I was
ready. Yeah.
I was supposed to go. So when I first got to Hawaii, I was going to James Campbell High School.
Okay.
In Eva Beach.
Uh-huh.
Now to go from Kansas to Eva Beach.
Yeah.
For a big haole.
Yeah.
Was a rough introduction to the Hawaii school system.
Mm-hmm.
And so we lived in Makakilo when I first got there, and then we moved to Schofield Barracks.
Yep.
So Leilehua was supposed to be the school that I went to.
Okay.
But they didn't have an acting program. They had no acting classes. So I got on the bus every day and went to Milani.
That's incredible. I'll let you answer the question, but yeah, so we lived in Schofield, then moved to Makakilo. This is wild.
Yeah.
Might be related.
When were you there?
So that was mid-90s. My dad was in the Army at the time.
So I graduated in 86. So
okay.
I got you by 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
But yes, sir. Yeah. Same place, we lived right by the golf course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that was something you were interested in early as a kid, acting. So that helped you change that school, and this is why not at his school.
That's
gotten him noticed when.
So in the early 80s, the Hawaii school systems weren't the most fabulous school systems in the world, and Milani had was a calmer school than Leilehua was.
Gotcha.
So it now might have changed in the 90s.
Well, our mascot is a mule, so that's one reason to not go.
Well, and Milani was Trojan. So
right
there we go. Just that's exactly why I went. But every morning I used to take the bus, and in Hawaii it's called the bus.
Yeah.
And I would see Army guys out running. and there were always 4 or 5 of them behind everybody else. Well, when I took the bus home from school, I would see 4 or 5 guys running with a log over their shoulder. It took me a while to figure out that the guys that were running at night were the ones that couldn't keep up in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had the Air Force, which was just that was a good reason not to join the Army.
Right.
And join the Air Force. The Air Force just lives a different life than what the other 3 services do. So I didn't go in I'd love to say I went in for patriotic reasons. I didn't. I needed a job. And the Air Force gave me a job and gave me a chance to do something. And
Yeah, nice. Now, did you get introduced to motorcycles while you're in Hawaii? Because I can't imagine a cooler place to ride.
no, mother, she's gone, but there was not going to be any motorcycles.
She was gonna
Wow.
ride you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there was no. No, I actually, my first base after basic was actually Lowry Air Force Base in downtown Denver.
Yep.
And my next base was at Dice Air Force Base in Texas. And all of a sudden, Mom couldn't say no. So I got my first bike.
Yeah. What was it?
When I was 18. It was a Yamaha Virago 525cc, I believe it was.
Yeah.
That was the first time that I rode. And
Nice.
that was the first time that I got on a bike.
Yeah. Just a little twinkle in his eye, didn't you?
Yeah, I did that. It was a flashback. You weren't here for a second. You went back to that point in time.
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh, it was cool. Yeah. It was very cool.
So you go from Air Force to, you know, the journey ending up at Mile High Harley. How? Because you and I both have a lot of years in between from those eras. So how did that happen?
So in the Air Force, I worked in the States. I worked on nuclear bombs.
Oh, wow.
So there's not a big civilian population of people that work on nuclear bombs.
Mm-hmm.
And then
What does that mean? I mean, I hear stuff like that, but that working on nuclear.
well, that means you inspect them, you transport them, you deal with them on a daily basis. You remember, you might not, but you remember the movie Broken Arrow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had, when nuclear incidents, so anything that happens with a nuclear bomb, the basic thing is a broken arrow. It goes up. So, I mean, that's what you're dealing with. You're dealing with, the ones that I worked on were missiles, not in the ground, but on a plane.
Yeah.
B-1B bomber. And it was, each one of these things was 10 times what they dropped on Hiroshima.
Wow.
So, that was actually very safe.
Right. So when you're standing next to something like that, do you feel the power of that?
Not at 18.
No.
You don't have it.
Yeah.
I also worked with conventional bullets and bombs.
But that also did big things.
But the nuke story is a better story than I worked with bullets. So
right.
you have to pick and choose on where your story comes from.
Yeah. There's what's the name of the area that was taking them apart and disassembling them in the 90s and the early 2000s here in Denver, Colorado, the Rocky Flats.
Oh,
I had a couple buddies that were working there and literally taking them apart through the glass and the shields and the things. And as they're disassembling them is like, oh yeah, my balls are tingling like you would not believe. Just the radiation, having to be checked constantly for brominium or whatever. I'm going to make these things up. But there was other stuff they had to like lavage his lungs to get whatever he was breathing out of there. And have the big patches on for radiation. I mean, that shit was real. It was.
If you haven't watched I think it's like how many episodes? The Chernobyl thing on.
I haven't. Yeah.
That is super.
Yeah.
Back then, terrifying.
Terrifying.
What a horrible way to go.
Oh, that would be a horrible way to go. Yes.
Yeah.
The radiation. Wow, super heavy. It's got real.
Sorry, I don't know how we got on that, but it's interesting.
It just is what it is.
Yeah.
There's no nukes in 1991. I moved to Okinawa, Japan.
Okay.
And there's no nukes there, so it was conventional.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually got out in 1994, and I was running carnival games.
No shit.
Wow.
Nope. No shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in Japan, it's a little bit different. We're not talking a Walmart parking lot with a Ferris wheel.
Gotcha.
Each town in Okinawa would have a festival once a year.
Yeah.
And it would be food, and there'd be 200 people that came and bought food tents, and they would sell their food there, and there'd be game tents, there'd be dancing, and there'd be basically it's an excuse for everybody to drink a lot.
Right.
But there was something about a foreigner with a game telling the Japanese, Nikai-chan sanpyaku yen, Nikai dikura, totemo kantan desu, dozo, dozo, dozo. I was making more money in carnivals when I was in the Air Force than I was and I went to do it full time, and then the Japanese economy crashed.
Oh boy, yeah.
And I was getting ready to come back to the States to figure out what I wanted to be when I grow up. By the way, I'm still trying to figure out what I want to be when I grow up.
Yep.
And answered an ad for a company that sold American cars and Harley-Davidsons to military members coming back to the States.
Yeah, cool.
And that was on September 2nd, 1994. And I started on September 5th, 1994.
Yeah.
Sold for them for 6 years, then managed their Japan operation for another 16.
Very cool.
So I sold motorcycles, and I sold Chevys and Dodges and Fords.
Yeah, what was that program called? Because my dad's dealership, we used to sell a couple hundred of them a year to the military guys coming back through New Jersey.
Overseas Military Car Sales was what it was named out there. It's actually a company out of, it's out of Woodbury, New York, Long Island.
Yeah.
But that's where it started, was in New York, and that's where it still is.
Yeah.
I left. They didn't close down because I left.
Yeah.
But I did that until Halloween Day of 2016.
Yeah. For us, it was always it was a distinct difference of like, well, that guy's buying a Caprice. Oh, and there's a captain buying a Corvette. Right. It was always like,
Right.
especially certain kind of guys are like, you're the Corvette guy. Yeah. It was always pretty,
And she's
pretty obvious.
It usually pilots that buy the Corvette.
That's exactly what it was. Yep. Yeah. That's really interesting.
I think there's something about being overseas. I know there is. And you're like, oh, I'm going to buy this motorcycle, whatever, and it's going to be waiting on me when I come back, or you just have that kind of an urge. I've known people to do it, and they have a little trailer hut, and they're selling this stuff out of it. And I don't know. It's just a different kind of.
That's actually exactly what we were doing. It was my first office for the first 3 years was a construction trailer.
Yeah.
By the military DX, and didn't have any bikes to look at. People came and ordered them from a magazine, and we'd order them from Harley and have it waiting at. In fact, this dealership is still on our list. When I posted, because I've been here for 10 days.
Yeah.
So when I posted that I came, my guys in Japan and Guam and Korea and England said, we can deliver to you. So the program's still there, and we'll still do courtesy deliveries for.
Love that.
It's called Military Auto Source now, but same company, same owner, just they changed the name.
Yeah. Very cool. So you get your first, did you say it was Kawasaki or Yamaha?
It was a Yamaha Raga.
Yeah. And then progress to what? What are the next phase of bikes for you over the years?
I've ridden a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
A KTM. I had a KTM 990 here in Denver once I moved back. I had a couple of wannabes. They wanted to be Harleys, but they were Yamahas or Kawasaki's big tours.
Yeah.
I've had 3 or 4 Harleys in Japan.
That had to make you one of the coolest people in Japan.
Actually, the Corvette made me one of the coolest.
Oh, really?
I drove a Vet in Okinawa, and it was red with all blacked out, and a Corvette here. Okay, it's cool, but it's not.
Yeah, right.
But an American and a Corvette. The only bad part is I would be in the far corner of Okinawa, and I'd come home, and my wife would go, "So what were you doing up there?" I'm damn. Somebody caught me. There was no hiding. I mean,
Right. Yeah. That's you. Like
it was way sore thumb. Yeah.
Yeah.
The bikes were fun. It's harder to ride in 90-degree weather with 90-degree humidity and being attached to the military. There was no cooling. The PPE was a mandatory function.
Yeah.
The full jacket, the gloves, I mean, you were almost in more danger of passing out from heat exhaustion on a 50-mile ride than you were of getting hit, because it was literally that hot. So
right.
Fun to ride there sometimes, but not the best riding conditions for. But the cool thing is the island's only 66 miles long, 3 miles wide, so there wasn't very many long rides you could take.
Right. Yeah. Interesting.
They did mandate that. I remember that specifically. It was like there was a definition of somebody that didn't, or some a group of people that didn't ride motorcycles, making rules for people that rode motorcycles.
Interesting.
So we need you to put on these reflective things and this bubble vest and this like, all this ridiculous stuff. And
Yeah.
it just made it super uncomfortable to ride a motorcycle. So yeah, definitely.
So even off duty,
Even that you're never off duty in the military.
because it's like a contract. This is you. If you're out in the world and you get hurt, you're not useful to us. So you got to have somebody to.
And they'll threaten you, like if you get in an accident and you're not wearing this stuff, then, here's all the bad things that'll happen.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because the first time I went down on a bike was on that Yamaha,
Yeah.
and it was 20 miles an hour, and I pick up the bike, I ride it home, and when I get home, I look down and my hands are bleeding. Okay, no problem. Then I look down and my leg's bleeding. I'm like, okay, honey, let's go to the hospital.
Yeah.
And I go to the hospital, and it was 25 stitches in my hand.
Oh boy.
It was 25 in my knee. And 3 days later, they going for a wound check. Actually, 2 days later, that was a Friday. I went in on Sunday, and I knew the guys that were doing the up at the front desk of the hospital. So they're like, "Yeah, just go in and sit down. Doc will be with you in a minute. We'll get you out of here." I'm like, I was hurting. I was in pain. And the doc walks in. He's like, "How you doing?" I didn't say anything. He reaches down and grabs both sides of my knee, and he squeezes. And he looks up, and I'm grimacing.
Mm-hmm.
They left a rock in my knee when they stitched it up.
Oh.
So they're like, "Oh, yep." They're like, "Did they take your temperature?" I'm like, "Well, no." He's like, "Let's take your temperature." Okay, 104, you're going in the hospital.
Yeah.
If I went in, they opened up the wound, and they were coming in every day, and they were cleaning it out. And the very first day I was there, a young airman walks in and says, Sergeant goes, "We got to do a line of duty determination." I said, "What's that?" "Well, we got to figure out, since an accident put you in the hospital, we have to figure out if you're going to pay for it or if the military is." I said, "Well, the accident put me in the hospital."
Mm-hmm.
I went home on Friday. The fact that they left a rock in my knee is why I'm in the hospital.
Right.
And every day she would come in, and every day I'd send her away. And the last day she comes in, she says, "Well, if you don't fill this out now, I'm going to have to go get my boss because you're getting discharged today." I'm like, "Go get your boss." And boss comes in, and he's like, "So what happened?" I said, "This is what happened." And he turned around and looked at the young lady and said, "Yeah, he doesn't need to fill that out. Let's go." But they were actually going to make a report on whether or not it was my responsibility to pay for the accident. And yeah, if you're not wearing the right gloves, you're not wearing the right helmet, you don't have on boots that cover your ankles. I mean, but they're doing it for two reasons. Yes, they're doing it because that's what they do in the military.
Yeah.
But they're also doing it because they don't want anybody to get hurt.
Right.
And if you're wearing all the PPP, you're less likely to get hurt when somebody hits you. So,
Right.
did I like it when I was 25? No.
Same thing.
Did I like it when I was 45? No.
Right.
I still don't like it, but there's at least a reason behind it, and it's taking care of those that take care of us. So,
When did you retire then from the Army?
I didn't retire, sir. I got out. I was in for 6 years,
Gotcha.
and then I sold bikes and American cars and trucks in Okinawa and mainland Japan for another 22.
Gotcha.
Wow.
Wow.
22 years.
Yeah.
22 years as civilian. I lived there for 25. I lived 20 years in Okinawa and 5 years right outside of Tokyo, right outside of Yokota Air Force Base, to be exact.
So the Japanese must have been fascinated with you. Like this giant white guy that speaks probably pretty fluent Japanese at that.
It was better at that time than it is now.
Yeah.
Japan's a very polite society.
Yeah.
And the politeness is through all of the facets of their culture, even riding. Because in Japan, it's $2,500 to $3,000 to get a license, a car license. And that's what it costs. And there's really no way around it. Because if you go try to test out without taking one of their schools, the driver's license place will literally tell you are going to fail this test 25 times before you pass.
Right.
So you're going to pay $2,500 to $3,000. Well, as a result of that, most people, it's not just in Japan, it's in Indonesia, it's in the Philippines, it's in Thailand. They start off on 50cc scooters. And because they start off on 50cc scooters, they're much more aware of riders on the road. And they're much more prone to let you in. Lane splitting is not only legal, it's very common. And it's just so the politeness runs into that too.
Right. Interesting. Yeah. As opposed to it looks like in other parts of the world, it's just chaos.
Well, I mean, when you're driving in the Philippines and Manila or in Bali, oh, it's chaos.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 100% chaos.
How do you survive that? I mean, I'm only like a visual tourist, so I've never experienced anything remotely close to that in my life. How in the world? I don't even know how you merge onto a street in those scenarios.
You just go.
Yeah.
You just go. My most exciting trip. So we used to have a yearly conference in Angeles City, which is where Clark Air Force Base was before the Mount Pinatubo blew in 1991. And Manila, people can't grasp the concept of a city that takes you 3 hours to get out of. But that's what it takes you to get out of it. And there's all kinds of ways to get to the highway. So I never took the same way twice. But I got there. I was running. My flight was running late, and I had a meeting with my VP, and I got into a taxi, and I said, "You get me there in this time frame, and it's $100 tip, which would be like $1,000 tip in New York." And he's like, "I got you." Oh my God. We started going, and there were some VIPs that had a cop escort, and it was the cop, and then it was 2 vans. And my taxi driver got in behind them. And everybody knew we weren't with the convoy. So as soon as the last van went, everybody tried to close up on us because we were cheating. And I mean, at one point, I just shut my eyes and went, well, it is what it is. I died. This is where I died. Right. He did get his tip, though.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's awesome.
He got his trip. It was a fun ride. And then we actually took bikes that trip and went up to the top of the volcano and rode in the ashes.
Oh, wow.
Because, and I'm talking, dirt bikes, 600cc dirt bikes and ash that came up. Yeah, we got stuck quite a few times, but It was an interesting thing to go to a volcano that had blown 4 or 5 years before and sit there and ride in the ash.
So what brought you back to the States?
Love Japan.
Mm-hmm.
But the only place, and this is not a political statement, not even a little bit, the only place in the world that you can be a part of a country and not be from that country is here. I was always going to be a visitor in Japan. Now, I built a house there. I hope she's enjoying it, but I built a house there. I paid taxes there. I lived there for 25 years, but I was always going to be an outsider.
Gotcha.
And after 25 years, it just felt right to not want to be an outsider anymore.
Gotcha.
And so it was time to come home.
Where'd you put the feet down when you got back here?
Here.
Straight to Colorado.
Yeah. I had
Any roots here?
absolutely none. No.
Yes. Nice.
Yeah.
That's a theme.
Tokyo has 44 million people.
Yeah.
And I knew I didn't want Tokyo size because 44 million is a lot of people. But I also didn't want Cheyenne, Wyoming. No offense to anybody from Cheyenne, Wyoming. I didn't want Cheyenne. I wanted and this was a nice mid-sized place. So yes, sir, I got here on November 1st, 2016.
Wow. Interesting. And then, so you stayed in the automotive and motorcycle world.
Well, so for the last 8 years, basically I've sold Mercedes-Benz.
Gotcha.
Here in town.
And then transitioned here, just what you said, 10 days ago?
What's today, the 13th?
Yeah.
So 12 days ago.
12 days.
I underestimate. It's been 12 days.
Yeah, that's right. And with Mile High Harley now, part of the family.
Yes, sir.
And are you in between bikes? Or
I am in between. These are my bikes. The ones you see,
these are all your babies?
These are the ones that I get to roll in on and roll out on. And,
nice.
And I actually have a huge bike collection I can ride. It's pretty cool. Yeah. So I'm most certainly between bikes right now.
Yeah. Nice. What in your mind's eye might be next?
Oh, it'll be a street glide.
Yeah. Without a doubt.
Without a doubt, it'll be a street glide.
Nice. Yeah. And I mean, I can guess why, but tell me why.
You already guessed. Yeah. It amazes me. My first bike was a built out Sportster, and I mean stupidly built out, where I spent 10 grand on it and then spent another 20. And I get on these Sportsters and I go, now yes, I'm bigger than I was when I was 21, especially that Yamaha Virago. But that's why it feels the best to me. I appreciate the road glide with the fixed fairing, but it's not for me.
Gotcha.
When I turn,
what would be the first thing you do to it? Walk in and see Garrett. He's going to tell you all the things to do. and set you up with your own parts guy.
Well,
What would you do?
I've got a parts guy. The stock bike is actually
Perfect for
I
you.
wouldn't change much. I drive like I found out a long time ago that regardless of whether I go 100 or I go 75, everybody that I pass catches up to me at the light anyway.
Right.
So true.
And it also here in Denver, it's scary, and I didn't know how scary until I started riding here. I've had 4 bikes, 5 bikes here, but the amount of people that aren't looking at the road. So I ride very defensively. My goal is to stay away from everybody because just like the X-Files, don't trust anybody.
Okay. Yeah.
It was just a much different feel riding here versus riding even in the chaos of the Philippines, even in the chaos of Thailand. I actually felt more comfortable there. I felt that everybody else was looking out for me more there than here.
And for themselves, it like coexisting something.
It's a symmetry that we haven't. And the cell phone laws that they just passed here help. They just need to enforce them.
Yeah.
And by no means is Japan utopia,
Right.
but they do enforce their cell phone no cell phone laws.
Right.
And they also, if you get into an accident there, you're at fault. Car hits a bike, car's at fault. There's no ifs, there's no buts, there's no maybes, there's no
Interesting. Yeah, where we have a completely different sort of bias here.
woo.
Yeah. I mean, whether the cops want to admit it or not, unfortunately we do. Yeah, you're driving just a much bigger vehicle. You got to be looking at what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
Well, you can't be looking at your phone.
Yeah, that's right.
You can't be watching TV. You can't be
Oh,
putting
yeah.
makeup on or combing your hair and it's amazing. It was really eye opening when I first started riding here, which wasn't too long after I got here, and passing cars and past 20 cars in a row and nobody's looking at their eyes in front of them.
Crazy.
And it's like, I never understood loud pipes until I got here.
Yeah.
I never understood the loud pipes save lives. I just thought it was people being obnoxiously loud. Here, I understand it. Here, give me loud pipes. Let them know that I'm coming, because
Yeah.
anything I can do to get those 2 wheels back to the garage safely is cool.
Yeah, we're swapping distracted driving stories the other day, and a friend of mine was going up 36 up to Boulder, and this person is reading a book,
Reading a book.
and they're not in a self-driving car reading a novel. Like, what in the?
Yeah, absolutely. I
I'm
mean,
not 36.
if you get on 470 or 25, there's probably a 12 out of 10 chance somebody's going to try to change lanes into you.
Yep,
Or, it's all the time.
all the time.
Yeah.
And the craziest drivers for me in America have been actually Miami area. These people, I don't know, what are you doing? They are driving like they got to beat something and going super fast while Instagramming or something with their phone on a video call,
Right.
and weaving in and out of traffic, and going 90 while doing it. I've never seen anything like it. And I had a period of time where I was down in Florida taking care of my dad, and I had to go from the Florida Keys up to Miami, and there was this road that we would go on that was single lane, beautiful road, except for the part that people apparently have to go somewhere desperately fast,
Right.
and would come head on into us trying to pass some car in front of them that's not going to get there any faster than the other cars. And I mean, I got pushed into almost into the mangroves off the road by a tractor trailer passing somebody. Like, what in the?
It doesn't make.
It is insane.
Yeah.
I just people just slow down. Figure like it doesn't matter. And by the way, if you lose the job, you probably should have lost the fucking job anyway.
Well,
If you can't show up on time to work,
Mhm.
right, or whatever your problem is, right?
Yeah.
Excuse my language, but yeah,
Yeah.
it
That's
just
you than me.
yeah. I mean, it's crazy. It's the strangest thing. It's kind of what we were talking about with Robbie earlier. Just for riding, it's awesome. It's liberating. It's freedom, but it's also situational awareness at all times. You are engaged in your ride, right? There's no not being engaged in your ride.
No.
There might be long stretches you guys been on where it starts to get a little delirious, but
Oh, going through Wyoming to Sturgis. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that If you're going to read a book on a bike, that's where to read it at. 100% flat for 150 miles.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a long stretch, riding to Sturgis. And then it gets good really fast.
Really, as soon as you get out of Wyoming, it's a great ride. Yeah.
Yeah. There are sections of Wyoming that are desolate. Yeah.
I
And
mean,
winds.
high wind.
Crazy winds. Yeah.
That and is it coming across 80?
Yep.
Yep. That's brutal.
Yep.
It's I met a guy last year when I rode in Africa, and from Germany, and he readily admits that he watches like Netflix on his motorcycle.
What is motorcycle?
He's like, "Oh, I've watched a few of your YouTube videos." I'm like, I mean, that's cool, like, but probably not. Like,
I mean, I could see as a podcast, you got something
That-
not really watching, really?
I think he's watching.
Jesus Christ. That's ridiculous.
So of all time, and this is where technology, right? And I saw this meme, but it made perfect sense. We pass a law.
We're fucked.
Yeah.
As humanity, like we're excuse my language, sorry guys.
No, but
But that's, I mean,
you can't have your cell phone on your hand.
yeah.
But then every car is coming with this 27-inch TV right here, right?
Oh my God.
And you're like touching things. It's just like,
So dumb.
I don't know where it's going, but it's definitely all the distractions.
Well, that's where the new cars actually help motorcycle riders.
Mm.
Is with, yes, it's got the big screen, but you can talk to it.
Yeah.
It should be.
You've got the big screen, but you don't have to take your eyes off the road in order to do almost anything in the car. And that's the way that we're moving, where you don't have to touch anything.
I mean, the whole point of me and Susan Dane and General Motors and all these other people that we worked with to try to pass the hands-free bill here in Colorado finally got it passed. And, you know, there's plenty of alerts that go out there to tell people this stuff. But I was driving this weekend to a motorcycle event, and this woman is behind me in a Rivian, brand new car, basically could be almost autonomous if she wanted. She was not driving it that way, while FaceTiming somebody, talking while FaceTiming and driving. And it took every ounce of my power not to stop the car in front of her at one of these stoplights and get out of the car and start yelling at her. And I don't want to be the crazy person. I don't believe in road rage or any of that kind of stuff. But like, for the love of God, your car is more connected to your phone than any other vehicle in history. What are you doing with it in your hand?
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I
Yeah, I don't even.
just don't understand it.
I don't care.
Yeah, I can understand if you're driving an old, Honda Civic from the 80s and you got the bracket there, but like
But even
this, FaceTiming while driving a Rivian.
on the Civic, more of a reason not to touch it, because it has none of the stopping. It's got none of the blind
Yeah,
spots. It's got
all the
warning.
assistance. Yeah,
All you got to do is kill yourself, hopefully,
yeah, that's right.
as opposed to somebody else.
Yeah, that's right.
If I'm getting into an accident, I would rather die than hurt somebody.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's nuts.
I think you are right. To some degree, there is the driver assistance stuff that's getting more and more out there is getting better and better at helping reduce these collisions. But one of the things that's always shocking to me, and we get a few a year, is, we get a few Tesla cases where people are still doing dumb things and running straight into our motorcycle riders with their Tesla.
Because the Tesla, the self-driving on the Tesla is beta.
Yes, totally agree with that.
Experimental. Well, that's what they call.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what they call.
Yeah, and they lie all the time.
I've got high-power computers at my house that I have to reboot once every 2 weeks.
Mm.
It's not absolute.
Yeah, that's right.
Plus, I had a customer at Ben's about a year ago, and we were talking about the electric and the self-driving and all that good stuff. And his point, and it hit me when he said it, the only way the self-driving works is if everybody's self-driving.
Yes.
You can't have half the population be self-driving, half the population be human, and have the self-driving work, because the self-driving can only work if everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
So it's never going to be a replacement for your eyes, for your ears, for your brain, your judgment.
Yeah.
It's not an absolute. Does it help? Yes, I believe it does. But it's not an absolute for common sense and paying attention and situational awareness.
Yeah.
You're driving a 6,000-pound weapon.
Yeah, that's right. You'll
Get off your phone and pay attention, sorry.
Yeah, no, you'll appreciate this because it's kind of near where you live up in Bailey. So I'm driving from Fairclay on 285, headed back towards Denver, and there's this Tesla that's, I don't know, a quarter mile behind me, and there's a cop behind him with his lights going. And I'm like, well, I don't know what's going on. And so we come up out of Bailey, and then it splits into the two lanes.
Yep.
And I get off to the right, and the Tesla passes me on the left, sound asleep.
Wow.
Sound asleep, and the cop is following him. And I look at the cop, and he's like, I don't know why they didn't even just like, where are the sirens? It was like an escort for this guy. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Wow.
And just sound asleep. And it doesn't get any more criminal than that. Sorry.
What is that? So okay, so now we got hypotheticals, but you got a car that can beta drive itself. There's an accident.
Yeah.
The driver is sound asleep. I would imagine the driver is probably still at fault.
Oh yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're asking the lawyer.
No, you're right.
100%.
Yeah.
And it even tells you, don't do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Tesla tells you don't do it.
I can't believe it didn't pull itself over. I don't know how
Because
I'm never going to own one.
at that year, so some of them, I believe,
Yeah.
so some of the manufacturers, when they're doing the self-driving, actually have cameras.
Yeah, they're looking at you.
And I believe
Yeah.
Tesla has that now, but they did.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, you could. And the problem is when he comes up on that white truck that the software doesn't recognize as a vehicle, and he has clear sky. That's where you get the
that is exactly
TikTok and the Instagram and the YouTube. Tesla driver gets killed while he's asleep behind the wheel.
Yeah.
It's not an absolute, and there is no absolutes when it comes to machines. There's just not.
Exactly.
There's just not.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting. This is a conversation I didn't expect to have at all.
No.
Yeah.
It's important to motorcycle riders.
Yeah.
That part is important to motorcycles.
Totally.
You might not expect to have it, but
Yeah.
it's good for non-motorcycle riders to hear. Don't trust your car.
Yeah, I don't even like to sleep. No offense, Mary. I don't like if somebody else is driving and I'm in the passenger seat. I don't really want. It's just
I'm the same way.
just wake up like. Oh.
Yep. I'm the same way.
Yeah.
Same way for sure. And when my wife, like, we'll be on a long trip and I do most of the driving, and I'll like, all right, sweetie, you got to take her for a little while. Yeah, I can't actually sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I wake up thinking we're about to rear in that tractor trailer. I just woke up with my hat on.
Exactly. Yeah. Just a little jolt.
A little yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I don't even. What did we even talk about?
Dude, it's like you're like a version of the most interesting man in the world. It's like
Totally.
that's why I love this, because you never know. Like,
Yeah.
oh, same school. Oh, he lived in Japan.
And Makakilo blows me away. The fact that y'all lived in Makakilo blows me away.
Yeah. I could even I'll do the 20-second. You get off the exit, and then take a right up the hill.
Right.
And there's a gas station. I was so broke in high school that I remember I put 25 cents worth of gas in my car at one time, a quarter. Anyways, you go up the hill, maybe less than half a mile, and condos or whatever on the right. That's where we stayed.
We went up the hill about a mile and took a left, and they didn't have the condos when I was there. But
Yeah.
there was a hill behind us.
Yeah.
Because that road is like this. I mean, it's steep. It's
Yeah.
hog. Yeah. And there were some Japanese bunkers up there behind us, behind the house. And we had mangoes growing in the trees in the yard, and it was, we only lived there for about 4 months before we moved on base. But yeah, it was cool.
That's
The
wild.
fact that you live there is nuts.
Yeah. Well, thanks, James.
You're very welcome.
Great talking.
Yeah. It was great talking to you, James. Thanks so much.